When you force a command onto someone, you invite immediate rebellion. The human ego naturally resists being pushed. But when you offer them choices, their resistance disappears. They feel in control, empowered, and autonomous. Master strategists do not force outcomes, they construct the menu. Welcome to the illusion of choice and engineered outcomes. Direct commands create friction because they openly threaten an individual's sense of autonomy. Double-bind architecture circumvents this friction by structuring a scenario where the target is given multiple explicit choices. Yet every single option serves your primary strategic goal. Instead of asking whether someone will agree to your terms, you present two distinct pathways for how or when they will fulfill them. For instance, offering a choice between an aggressive execution timeline and a phased rollout directs their cognitive focus towards selecting a method, completely skipping the question of whether to proceed at all. The target feels a sense of control because they made an active decision while you secure the precise outcome you engineered. By controlling the parameters of choice rather than demanding compliance, you eliminate pushback before it can even form. When faced with infinite possibilities, individuals often delay decisions, seek external advice, or discover alternative routes that bypass your influence. The false binary trap artificially narrows a complex, multivariable situation down to two stark, highly defined choices. By framing the environment through an either-or lens, you force the target's brain to analyze the scenario exclusively within the boundaries you have drawn. You strategically present your preferred option alongside an unviable, high-risk alternative. The target, seeking safety and efficiency, naturally gravitates toward your intended path without pausing to look for unstated third or fourth options. This cognitive shortcut strips away their ability to brainstorm independent solutions, locking their decision-making process into an engineered corridor where your desired outcome is the only logical path forward. Value and attractiveness are entirely relative. The human brain evaluates options by comparing them against immediate reference points. Asymmetric anchoring is the deliberate practice of placing your intended outcome next to a decoy option that is visibly inferior, inefficient, or uncomfortable. The decoy is not meant to be selected. Its sole purpose is to serve as a stark contrast point that accentuates the benefits of your preferred path. When compared to an option burdened with hidden drawbacks or high friction, your target choice appears immensely reasonable, safe, and advantageous. The target experiences a sense of strategic triumph, believing they successfully avoided a poor decision. In reality, their preference was artificially guided by the asymmetric landscape you constructed, making your chosen outcome appear as the obviously superior choice. The outcome of any high-stakes discussion is rarely determined during the negotiation itself. It is decided by whoever successfully sets the initial frame. Stealth framing is the art of subtly establishing the rules, context, and fundamental assumptions of an interaction before the other party recognizes a choice is being made. By controlling the initial definition of the problem, you quietly restrict what solutions can be considered valid. If you frame a scenario around risk mitigation, every proposed choice must prioritize safety. If you frame it around rapid expansion, safety is treated as secondary. Once the target accepts your initial premise, their subsequent decisions are bound by that reality. You do not need to fight over choices when you already control the framework that defines what constitutes a reasonable decision. The most dangerous flaw in overt manipulation is that it leaves a clear trail of coercion. When people feel forced, their long-term commitment falters and resentment builds over time. The ownership illusion solves this vulnerability by deliberately granting the target full psychological ownership of the final decision. As the architect, you step back at the critical moment of choice, allowing them to announce the conclusion, refine the minor details, and take public credit for the strategy. Because their ego is now deeply attached to the decision, they will fight fiercely to execute and defend it against external criticism. They do not realize that while they selected the specific dish, you wrote the entire menu. This psychological alignment transforms potential resistance into enthusiastic execution. By prioritizing outcome control over ego satisfaction, you allow others to enjoy the illusion of authority while you quietly secure the strategic yield. True strategic mastery reaches its peak when victory is achieved long before the confrontation takes place. The pre-engineered victory relies on invisible steering, a holistic synthesis of environmental design, choice architecture, and behavioral conditioning where opposition becomes mathematically and psychologically unfeasible. As a master architect of decisions, you do not engage in heated debates, pull rank, or attempt to out-argue your opponents. Instead, you shape the entire operational context so thoroughly that every path outside your intended plan leads to immediate friction, discomfort, or strategic failure for the opposition. When targets evaluate their options, they discover that agreeing with your direction is the path of least resistance and highest mutual benefit. They step into your blueprint voluntarily, believing they are acting out of pure, rational self-interest. You remain invisible behind the curtain of choices you constructed, orchestrating the dynamic without leaving a single footprint of force. By mastering invisible steering, you eliminate conflict entirely, securing absolute compliance framed as free will.